Start with the invocation.
Okay, let us pray. Almighty and everlasting God, who presides over all things in heaven and earth, come and preside over these deliberations so that those that make the decisions may be guided by your wisdom. Amen.
Amen.
Join me in the pledge of the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right.
You guys set up the microphone?
Did not.
It's right here.
Well, better get on it.
Point of order, please, sorry.
Come closer.
Do we have Ms. Carmichael on live with us today?
No.
No.
Okay.
Gentlemen, you should have a copy of the agenda. It was sent out. We have a motion to accept the agenda?
No. Only to add,
Okay.
the HC, UC, I had given that information to Don and he must have just, not included it on the agenda, but changed.
All right, where would you like to put that in?
At the top.
Where?
Under guests, and we just do it,
Okay.
do it early. He has another meeting to attend to.
Lee, you have something?
I believe we should do a report to the membership on the response to the petition that was presented. And that should probably come in unfinished business.
Gentlemen, do you all concur?
No problem.
We discussed this already?
Yeah.
I mean, we discussed it, but I don't understand, whatever.
We instructed that a letter be written and sent.
Right.
I think the community deserves a response that that letter was written and sent.
I don't think it has been yet
All right,
because of Dawn's illness.
then I don't have anything to say.
We can hear what he said.
Okay.
There's a front row. I apologize, then I don't have anything to add if that letter has not been sent.
All right, do we have a motion to accept the agenda as corrected?
So moved.
Mike? We have a second. Larry, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, minutes for the board meeting of September 23rd as corrected. I don't have a copy of those in front of me.
You had them on Friday.
No, I didn't, but okay.
They were done by Gloria, sent out. There was a change of Foster and Fawcett
Yeah.
on that
Right.
one, if you remember
We
correctly.
got the hats on the right heads.
She changed it.
Move to approve.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Yeah, well, who did you approve? You made the motion.
I did.
Oh, okay,
I made it second.
okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Work session of October 8th.
Move to approve.
Do we have a second? Larry, do you have a
I
second?
wasn't here that work
Okay,
session.
well, I'll second it.
Okay.
All those in favor?
I'll approve, but I wouldn't.
Aye.
Okay, board meeting of October 15th.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, do we have a second? Do
Aye.
we have a second?
Yeah.
Under discussion, they are far too extensive. The purpose of minutes is to record decisions made. They should read the motion that was made by Larry, who made the second, and then the results of the vote. All that extra is inappropriate.
I have no problem with it. I was asked for my notes from that meeting and gave them, and they were copied verbatim. I don't see a need to have all that in there.
So you want to
Can we strike the
strike
notes
all of
and-
the, okay.
Simply, the motion. Oh, Lordy.
Strike
Okay, I'm awake.
the verbatim.
All right, so then it will be the motion, the second, and the results of the vote. Nothing more.
I think we need to vote on correcting it.
Well, that's,
Is that what we're doing?
Yep,
vote on the motion as corrected. Okay,
Aye.
aye.
aye, okay. Treasurer's report.
Excuse me, where are we gonna get the HCC in it?
Yeah, can we do
All right.
HCC first?
Okay, fine. Let's go with him.
Thank you.
Morning, can everyone hear me okay?
Here's a mic,
Just use the microphone, we'll be happy.
both of them.
Okay. My name is Jim Anderson. I have been given the task of the chairperson of the Harbor Club Utilization Committee. And we have been given the task to set guidelines for usage of the building. So I'm going to give you a very brief overview and then ask if there's any questions that I'd like to be able to answer for you. I know there's a lot of rumors out there. There's a lot of things being said that I'm going to try to clear up this morning for you. The main goal of our committee is to make sure that our community has the utilization of this building, and it's appropriate for our usage. We have been meeting since the beginning of October. We have put together what we feel is a basic guideline at this point for our residents. There will be in the future possibly guidelines for outside usage, but that is going to be in the future. We're going to be looking at just our community. What we don't want to have happen is a very beautiful building sitting without it being utilized, okay? So our goal is to get it utilized by our community as much as possible. And if there's any possibility of utilization from outside, we're going to take a look at that down the road. We've got to get this organized and get it off the ground first. So a couple of things that are very important for you to understand. The interior of this building is gorgeous. It is very beautiful. The design is, when I went through it, I was very impressed, and I think most of you will be as well. The Grand Hall is able to seat approximately 300 with just chairs. Tables and chairs, it's capable of doing at least 200. Excuse me. The lookout room is 2 different rooms that can be divided. It's 1 big room, excuse me, that can be divided into 2 separate areas by a curtain drawn down the middle. Now, I'm not just I'm gonna answer.
I don't have a question. Well, I do. Do you have a piece of paper which shows the plot of the inside of the building? Because we don't have any idea. I've never been in the building personally,
Okay, I understand that.
so I don't know what the lookout room is other than.
Okay,
there's a
I'm
room.
telling you.
Okay, there's a room someplace.
Okay.
Okay, got it.
Okay, let me explain it to you.
Oh, okay, thank you.
The lookout room is a large room that will hold 100 people, okay? It is able to be divided in, we've been calling it the 60-40. Okay, so there's room A, lookout A, and lookout B. That room can be utilized by anyone in the harbor at no cost. There are meeting rooms. All of those rooms, actually all the rooms like that are named after North Carolina lighthouses, which I thought was a pretty unique idea. The other meeting rooms, the Bald Head room, the Cape Hatteras room, the Ocracoke room, all are able to be used by any club, any organization, anyone within the harbor at no cost. Okay, the only facility, the only part of the facility that will have a cost will be the Grand Hall. And the reason there will be a cost for the Grand Hall is it will be set up, tear down, and maintenance. That room will be used for weddings, graduations, retirements, just family reunions, whatever someone wants to use that particular room for. And again, that room is large and can hold quite a large number of people. So that room does have a facility fee with it because of the maintenance, the setup, the tear down, and the cleaning of that facility. What we did was we checked around with other communities like ours that have clubhouses like ours. And we decided we wanted to take a look and try to compare ours with theirs. To our knowledge, for each of those facilities that we researched, our prices will be under those significantly. The price that is going to be put into place for the Grand Hall, and again, this is the only room in the facility that there is a fee for. And again, the fee is for maintenance and care, setup, tear down, those types of things. So on Monday through Thursday before 5 o'clock, the fee to that room is $200. After 5 o'clock, the fee is $300. For the weekends, the fee is $500. I'm getting feedback.
I know, that's what he's working on. You just keep the microphone.
I know how to use the microphone.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I know.
Thank
So
you.
what? No,
Thank you.
apologize.
I appreciate it.
It'll work for you.
After Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, it is $500 per event. Okay, that $500 goes again to the maintenance, the cleaning, the setup, and tear down. So if someone is going into that area to do a wedding on a weekend, if you compare that price to other facilities around the area, it is thousands of dollars less. Okay, a lot of facilities around the area are charging anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000 for a Saturday wedding. Okay, and I know that's hard to believe, but it's very, very true. So that's what the prices have been set for the facility. Okay, again, there is an entire back to the facility that is a covered porch. There is a screened in area. Those areas will be open 100% of the time for residents to visit, to sit. There's going to be rocking chairs. There's areas there that can be just enjoyed by the community. There will be access to the restrooms, which are in the far end of the facility toward the boat ramp. Those restrooms will be available by card pass. There is a card reader right at that door. You can lift your card that gets you in the gate. It will get you into there for restroom facility from 7 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock at night. The POA offices will be open exactly the same as they are. They're in the opposite end of the building toward where you may have seen the new amphitheater. So the center of the building, the main hall, the Grand Hall, is the large room that you see in the center of the building if you've gone past it. And that facility, again, is for our usage, and it's very beautiful. Okay, we've also decided that the Harbor Light Players and the Fairfield Harbor Chorus, because they are approved performance clubs in our community, will not have to pay a fee to use that room for their productions or their concerts. Okay. Mike and Jennifer, have I left anything out that might be of importance?
I don't think so.
I was just going to say, these are recommendations that the committee is going to make to the board, but they have not been approved yet.
Correct, yes.
And
Thank you.
I can make a clarification. The card will work, but also your phone app will work on the doors.
Oh, thank you. Yes, it will. Yeah. Your card or your
So if you
Apple
don't-
Watch or
If you
your
don't have a
phone.
card, you can have a
Right.
phone app at no charge, and that will work as well.
Thank you. Okay. Do we have any questions? Yes, sir.
Is this subject to approval?
Yes, the whole thing, as soon as, and we have a meeting tomorrow. This document that I'm reading from, hopefully, with our fingers crossed, will be completed tomorrow. Our first event in there is December 12th, okay? So that's a community event, you're gonna be hearing about it, it's gonna be an open house. The event committee is working very diligently on that. So we want to make sure that all of this is in place by that point in time, and it should be done tomorrow for the approval of the board then.
And then it will go out in, like the Friday newsletter?
Yes, sir, absolutely. Yes,
Are those the only two clubs that will be able to use that room at no charge? Or will another approved, recognized group within the community be able to have a holiday party at no cost in that same room?
we discussed that a lot, okay? And our thought was, these are performance clubs. And the stipulation was made that if they are performance clubs, and the reason we said that is the 60/40 room is large enough for most clubs to use for a holiday party, okay? Because it will hold at least 100 people. So what we designated for that again is with their approval, and they could change that, is that those two clubs would be the only ones to use it without a cost because they are performing for the community.
So if the residence is having a wedding reception for their daughter,
Yes,
and it's less than, say, 75 to 100 people, can we get that 60/40 room?
Absolutely.
No charge?
Yeah,
Okay.
sure. Yeah, yes, sir.
Question, if you're having an affair there, maybe a wedding, how does a catering company come in? Do you have, obviously, we have to hire the catering company. Are there appliances there, or the kitchen there? What is
Yes.
available to them?
Yeah, and I just happen to work in that industry. So when I went through there, I have to tell you, I was very impressed. There is a kitchen, it's not a commercial kitchen. But we go to a lot of places like that where there is nothing. And it's really, really difficult. So it is a large kitchen, large enough that actually two groups could be using that kitchen at the same time. And there is a catering hallway right between the kitchen and the grand hall that will have the best catering facilities that I've seen. And I've gone to a lot. And they are really, for a caterer to set up there, and I can, again, speak personally, it's gonna be like going to heaven. Because it's really, there is no place like that I have been. Yes,
Will they still allow access to the screen porch and the back deck and, say, the lawns or whatever while a private wedding is going on?
it depends on what the wedding folks want. If they're renting the entire facility, then of course and there is a bar in there as well. Okay, it's right beside the screen in, I call it a gazebo in the back. So if they're renting all of that space, the answer would be no. Okay, but keep in mind, that's few and far between probably. Okay,
Don't kid yourself. Because I live across from Red Cell Park, and I can't tell you the amount of unruly kids that are going through it, and while people are having functions at, in the pavilion,
right,
the kids are all over in there. I mean, they're friendly, but they're asking for food, asking if they can stay.
then they're done
And
that.
they have no guardians.
Yeah. So there will be signage that the committee has recommended, again, that will say this area is closed due to an event. Now, that does not mean those kids are gonna stay out. Understand?
No, but.
But at
parents
least there's
too.
signage there telling them they're not allowed to be there. And then somebody can say, hey, you need to leave.
So that brings me to another question. So if in the event that they're renting, say, the club, the ballroom, so they have to pay extra for access to the back?
No,
So that'll be included in the.
it's all included. It's all included.
Well, then I would think if it's rented, then the sign's gonna go up, stay out.
That's our intent. That's what we're hoping.
No, well, I mean, there shouldn't be any access, so maybe, the list should be going out periodically saying, it's reserved for this time.
And that's a possibility. That'll be up to the event person, the person scheduling that. That's not gonna be, we're just trying to set up these guidelines. So that's a great idea that somebody needs to maybe, take note of. I don't disagree with you there. Yeah. And by the same token, we're hoping that parents have enough common sense not to give their 10-year-old kid their card to go in and use the restroom.
Thank you.
I was an educator for 42 years. I'm not surprised.
Nothing like it was.
Not surprised at all.
Nate, question.
Yes.
Have you folks identified the needs for event insurance for the events that are renting the hall?
That is a really good question. The insurance actually, I'm going to give you my knowledge of it. As a caterer, we have to have insurance.
Right.
Okay. People renting the hall, normally the insurance is through the building itself, but there is a contract in there that will talk about damage. And they sign that contract, and of course, at that point, they're responsible for that damage, if that's what you're asking.
We can talk about that later. I think you need to cover the event liability issue.
Well, that will be part of that contract.
Okay.
Which contract?
The contract that someone will sign to use the facility. Anything else?
I do, I have a question. From 3 years ago or 4 years ago, it was, the community was told absolutely no outside events. And now you're talking that outside usage is possible in the future.
Always was since day one, right, Bob?
I mean,
I'm going to be very honest, okay? We're only trying to set these guidelines, okay? The board can absolutely change those guidelines. I was not aware of that, to be honest with you, okay? And I'm not doubting it, I'm just saying I was not aware of that. So what we're trying to do is, there was first thought, well, we'll make this available to outside once a month. But we don't want to do that, because what we're trying to do is figure out this is going to be an ongoing process, okay? And our intent is to have that facility used every weekend by our community. Okay, that is the intent. If down the road we see that it isn't being utilized and we can make money for that facility and for our community by doing outside rentals, then we said we would take a look at that, okay? And again, when I tell you that outside rentals generate anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000 a day, that's
and that's great, but
Yeah.
we've been also told from the beginning that this facility, let me finish, that this facility was fully funded. And now you're talking that, oh, we need money for the community. It's like you just can't
I,
have it
I
always.
didn't, I didn't say it wasn't funded. I never made that comment.
No, when they were, the people that were in charge of building it did.
Okay, I did not make the comment that it's not funded, and that's not my job, okay? My job is to get this place utilized. Our committee's job is to get it utilized as much as possible, okay? When I said we could bring in outside money, the outside money would be something that the community then wouldn't have to pay, okay? So I'm not the person making the final, our committee is not the people making the final decision. The board is, okay? So we can only recommend. And if we're gonna recommend that, again, it's gonna be down the road. I mean, we're talking next year down the road. Because we wanna see how this is gonna work first. We honestly don't know. We really don't know. So we're trying, we're trying to plan something that we don't know. And it's very, very difficult to understand, you know. Again, we could have a waiting list from our residents, and I hope that's what happens. But I don't know that. Yes.
Just suppose, I think it's a wonderful idea. I think that it's great that people can use the back section, closest to the inner harbor for free with a card or your phone. Is there any things you can't do? As in, can we bring beverages there?
Yes,
Can we bring food there?
yes,
Do we have things to throw it into, or is it
Yes.
bring it in, take it out?
you mean receptacles, trash?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
oh, yeah, absolutely.
good, that's great news.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
probably not so great news for you, isn't it? Suppose I'm having a gala,
Mhm.
and I want to have it in January, and I want to pay $5,000 for the room. Can I have it? Or do we have to wait a longer period of time?
First of all, you're not paying $5,000 for anything.
But I don't live here, sorry. Excuse me.
Oh, okay.
It's my mistake.
Okay. If it's not open, you don't get it.
So there'll be no rentals of the grand ballroom from outsiders for a long time? That was.
Until we figure out how that grand ballroom is going to be utilized by our community, there will be nothing there
Thank you.
except our community. Mike?
Two things.
Yeah.
This is a discussion we're gonna have, probably not today, but we're gonna continue to have it. Dues paying or non-dues paying? That's the question here. So do you want this thing to have a cost to it and then offset it with non-dues? Or do you want to pay the whole thing with dues? That's the choice.
That was, yeah, that's just a statement.
That's all I'm saying about that. We'll have this discussion later. The bar is not a buy and drink bar.
Right.
The bar is set up for caterers to have a paid bartender come in and take care of that, and take care of the insurance and everything else, and the licensing, okay? It's also there that if you're having an event and you want to bring something in, you can use it, but it's not going to have alcohol there on a permanent basis unless somebody's bringing it to a caterer.
And to clarify with Mike, that there will be no permanent liquor license at the facility, okay? It will be, that's very expensive. So if you're having an event and you want liquor there and you want to bring in a bartender, you have to get your own single day liquor license, and you can do that. Anybody can do that. It's just through the ABC. It's not a hard process. So we did not want, we cannot piggyback on Harbor Point liquor license because you can't, this is North Carolina, you can't cross Broad Creek Road with a liquor license. So it can't go from there to there. Can't happen. That's just North Carolina. It's, trust me, there's a whole lot more that you wouldn't believe that they do. It's crazy.
Why
Yes.
can't the point get a catering liquor license? And then they can go over there.
Well, they're gonna have to.
The catering liquor license, it doesn't exist. There is a one-day liquor license. There is a beer and wine license. There's an alcohol license or a one-day license. So you cannot cross Broad Creek with any license. Okay?
I'm not familiar with North Carolina. In Virginia, you can get a catering license.
Totally different.
Yeah.
Trust me, totally different. I came from Ohio, where they sell alcohol in grocery stores. Okay? Totally different. North Carolina it's difficult. Okay? It's very different. But getting the one-day liquor license is not hard. It really isn't. It's between $50 and $100, depending on which license you get. So it's not difficult. And again, the organization doing that would be responsible to get that license.
Thank you, Jim. Appreciate the information.
Good way. And I apologize, I have another appointment I need to excuse myself. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Lee, treasurer's report.
Before I start, let's all turn the Wi-Fi off on our phones, please. We had that blow up last time. Let's just, as a courtesy, do it. Justin says we might be all right. Airplane mode, I think, is good.
Using my phone.
Yeah. I just got some complaints that we blew up the recording last time, and I don't want to do that again. This is a little bit out of step report, and I apologize. I'm going to have to do it sitting down so I can see my screen. This is just an awkward setup. We'll fix it when we get moved. The latest reports I have from Troon are August, and I'll get into that in a minute. I have previously published the August 2025 month-end reports with the board's consensus as part of my Your Money Matters newsletter that went out a couple of weeks ago. I think a few of you saw it. It went out on e-blast from the POA. The detailed statements are already posted on front steps and board. They're in your board packet for today as well. I'm going to go through them a little bit and hit the highlights. Justin, show the screen, please, and not my face or Mike's face. Your balance sheet for August, total cash and short-term assets, $2,945,000. Your net fixed assets is $8,409,000. Your total assets is $11,786,000. Your current liabilities is $5,511,000. I'm sorry, it's $2,403,000. Your long-term liabilities, including your mortgage on your Harbor Club, is $5,511,000. And your total liabilities is $7,915,000, leaving a total equity of $3,871,000. I've had several people ask me, how do I read this thing? What does it mean? And I'm going to give you the Cliff's Notes version of the Cliff's Notes version on a balance sheet. And if there's enough people that really want to know about it, we'll hold a workshop on it. The reason I start with a balance sheet is because I'm totally convinced you have to know where you're starting from if you're not going to navigate to any place. This is your statement of where you are today, or as of the end of August anyway. And it shows what you own, what you have in the bank, and what you owe to other people in its simplest form. And that's exactly what you've got. Now on that balance sheet, on the detailed sheet, and I'm not going to show it here because it's too much detail, you have a cash depository account -HPC, that's Harbor Club. You have a cash depository Wells Fargo Reserve. We have a cash coastal business money market and cash PNC contingency will be adjusted all through transfers in the next few months, because although the money is in the bank, it's not posted to the right account, and I'll talk to each of those in detail. As I inquired into them, here's what I've learned. The depository account HPC has received all deposited receipts from the golf course, but it hasn't been used to spend any, cover any expenses for the golf course. Wells Fargo Reserve Cash will receive the proceeds from the closing of the Coastal Business Money Market account. I closed that business money market account because A, we weren't using it, B, it was a piddly little account with $3,000 in it, and C, it was earning us no money, and D, it needed to be consolidated into our other efforts as we work to streamline our banking. So that item will go away. It won't be on the next balance sheet you see. The account has been closed. It was closed through an account that left an audit trail or through a process that left an audit trail. Specifically, we had a cashier's check mailed to the address of record, and the cashier's check was immediately transferred into Wells Reserve. No human being, including Jennifer, ever touched the money, right?
Right.
But there's a paper audit trail for that transaction. The question about where you closed this, where did it go, is answered. Cash PNC contingency, thank you, Helen Bradley. It's going to be updated to show the collection of the $50 special assessment. I was previously told it was in there, but that line item balance on the balance sheet has not changed all year. Thank you, Helen. And we will post that money into there. Fair warning, I will probably consolidate it out after we know how much we need to cover the legal expenses that it was debited or invoiced for. Those are changes that are coming on the balance sheet. They do not show up on the August one that's on the board or in your front steps page, but they will be showing up. No, they're coming. Consolidated income statement. This keys into the one you have on front steps. Your gross income is $2,881,984 versus $2,759,000. We're ahead on gross income, but the most of that difference is in the difference in the way the dues receipts are accrued versus the way the dues receipts are budgeted on accrual. And if that's off in the weeds, I apologize, but we've got $2,881,984 in real money, and that's where we are. And we're a little bit ahead of what we budgeted. Total expenses, $1,801,647 versus $1,884,000. We're to the good on expenses. Net income for Harbor Club, for all of us, I'm sorry, not for Harbor Club, was $718,522 versus a budgeted loss of $125,756 at mid-year. Why are we that far ahead? $600,000 of that difference is because I have not made, I announced at our very first meeting that I attended as treasurer that I was not going to make transfers to reserves until the end of the year and we see how we're coming out. Because I'll talk to you again in a minute about my cash forecast for the year end, and we're going to probably need to use some of that money. It's on deposit in the bank, it's just not designated as a reserve as of today, and therefore we're about $600,000 ahead. There it is right there, 631,098. If you look on the detailed statement, you'll see about 631 that has not been moved over. And that's why. Like I said, it's in the bank. I just haven't designated it as a reserve because we have to go through legal gymnastics to pry it out of there if we need it for operating. Golf. Gross income, 401,726 versus 484,326. If you want to see the number of rounds of golf and all that stuff, the details on front steps. I'm not going to drag you through it here. Total expenses, 557,125 versus 684 budgeted. We're running behind budget on income and higher than, and also a little behind budget on total expense. But after you add it all up, we've got a loss after we pay our cost to lease carts and mowers and stuff like that. We've got a loss for the first 6 months of $248,000, $88.86 per lot, versus a budget of $275,556. So the good news is we didn't lose as much as we budgeted to lose. Restaurant, here's a little ray of sunshine. Gross income, 180. These are all year-to-date, by the way, not monthly. I've got to scroll down. There we go. Gross income, 183,334 versus 193,139. I said this was a ray of sunshine. How is it a ray of sunshine if we didn't make as much income as we planned? Because we kept our expenses down. Net income year-to-date is $4,254 black ink versus a budget of $14,395. That's my little ray of sunshine for the day. Cash forecast. As of August, we had cash available for operations of $1,882,985. And I showed you how I got to this last time. I did one of these reports and it's way too wonky for general consumption. But we have available $1,882,000, and I'm projecting that if we continue our current, I call it burn rate, we're going to use $2,399,000. Deficit to unrestricted funds is $576,000. And when we get a little closer to the end of the year, I hope to have a little better updated reporting from Troon. And we'll do a little finer forecast here. And we'll have to take one of three options, I believe. Those three options is we can just stop paying bills. That's not recommended. We can borrow from our reserves account. We should document that as a loan from us to us. But that leaves us starting the new year in the hole because we have to repay that. The other option is we could borrow from outside, but we're pretty well maxed out on our credit right now with the Harbor Club. So the viable option in my view is going to be to borrow from ourselves, and that 576, 759 I'm showing there that's in the red, it brings you out somewhere between what you've got booked right now as operating funds and what you've got booked as reserves. Do you have enough? Yeah. Is it going to leave you much going into the new year? No. Sorry. That's the way the money is stacking up right now, or unstacking as the case may be. Okay, that's all the numbers I have. If you have questions, as always, my email is at the top of the sheet on front steps. Drop them off to me. If it's a question of general interest, I'll respond to it in an e-blast as well. Our reporting from Troon Accounting is late again. They got caught up by giving me the month of August by 20 September, which is our contractual schedule. I haven't had a report since. I received yesterday the income statement for September, and I rejected it because if I can look through it and see what I perceive to be errors, it ain't good for prime time yet. So I rejected it. It was due to me as part of a complete package on or before October 20. None of the rest of the package has been received. The balance sheet's going to be key to our forecasting. Yes, we're on them. And I will be sending Troon at least one more notice of default for failure to meet contract terms. That's what it took to get them off the dime before. Now, there are a lot of excuses for this and a lot of reasons, and I don't know which is an excuse and which is a reason, but simultaneously, they have at their option moved their accounting from one city to another, from one staff to another, and from one software package to another. You see a recipe for a holdup, I do. But our contract says they'll deliver the reports on time. I've asked for a report from the old system, and I've been told we hit a hard stop on the license on that, and we can't run more reports on it. So that's my report on Troon. Harbor Club was mentioned earlier. I have work in process to bind that coverage as soon as we get the CO. I had asked to have it bound before we get the CO, and the underwriter doesn't want to do it until he has the CO in his hand. That's his rule. I'm not going to argue with him. I expect our premium is going to be in the neighborhood of $20,000, and our windstorm deductible is going to be in the neighborhood of 4%. If we don't like it, we can shop it, but I've taken the tack of, since we don't know exactly what it's going to be, I'm going to shop it with the guy that carries all of the rest of our insurance, so that if we have any sort of an issue, we don't end up in the insurance agency's coat of arms, so to speak. That's all I've got this morning. I'll ask for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for your work.
Bob, you gotta go back to Nate Atwater for we skipped Nate Atwater for the back report. He's
Oh, okay.
the back board advisory.
Nate, just Nate, okay. My mistake, I skipped over you. My bad, would you please? You like?
Want me up there?
Yep. You need two mics, one for us and one for the, here.
Yep. Can you hear me? Yes. It's too bad that Don's not here because he's part of this. I was here, I think it was a month ago, when I said that, there's a real division in this neighborhood, and it's really sad. There's only 20 people here. We've got 2,000 members in this community, and nobody wants to come. I find that to be horrid, to be honest with you. I think it's a big communication problem in the community. And I'm sorry, but I think it really starts at the top. And I appreciated Jim getting up here and talking, and I probably should have said something to him. Mike, I appreciate you with the parking, but there's only 20 people hearing it. And Lee, I appreciate big time your efforts on the financial side, and I appreciate the way that came out in a Friday update. And I think that that's probably the best place right now for the community to actually see this stuff. A lot of people don't get on front steps. What they do is they get on this lovely thing called Facebook, and they get pissed off at each other, and it creates a bigger divide than we've ever had. This has been going on for years, and I'm sorry, it's got to stop. We're all neighbors here. I think that the board really needs to take seriously every week in the Friday update, putting something out there that explains what you're doing to the community. I think a great place to start is actually the boat parking. I've seen thread after thread on every single one of our Facebook pages, whether they're official or owned by nobody, about this parking. It's miserable, it's atrocious. And Mike, if you could write something up, and I know that you're going to address it later today, and I appreciated a month ago You were telling us that we were going to be looking at this. The issue is that there's a bunch of people over here saying one thing, and then there's a bunch of people over here saying another. And if you officially came out with, look, we made a mistake here. This is something we should have addressed from the get-go, and we're going to address it. We have some potential options. Money's an issue, the COO is an issue, and we need to be able to move forward. And if we go out to the community and explain to people what we're doing, it'll end up 95% of the pissing and moaning in the community. I feel very strongly about that, as does the rest of the BAP. I mean, this was my idea, unfortunately, but we really discussed it at length yesterday. It's gone too far. And I really think that we got to be proactive as opposed to being reactive. If you're reactive, it takes 20 hours to figure something out that could have been done in 20 minutes. So writing something down, putting it in the weekly update, I think will change a lot of attitudes. Couple of things that we wanted to bring up is we've had a lot of questions of how do people communicate with the board. They've been sending emails, not getting anything back. We are more than happy on the panel to take those questions and bring them to the board and try to make something public that will smooth out a lot of people's questions. To that end, we would like to have a kind of a permanent liaison from the board, one of you guys that comes to our meetings or is accessible to us on a weekly or monthly basis. We could get together. Happy to do that. Yeah, Lee.
Understanding that the board was previously disinvited to come to those meetings, I'd like to volunteer to come.
Lee'd love to have you. How's that? You're appointed.
That's already happened,
That's okay.
my friend.
I got volunteered to come to this meeting every time, and I'm happy to do it. I'm here anyway.
Sure.
And I think I see the same faces every time. And this is embarrassing. It really is.
7,000 in the community.
Yeah, 7,000 people.
Two.
I'm thinking a couple thousand houses, but how many people are so indifferent that they no longer give a crap? You see people over here fighting, and you see people over there fighting. There's a way to fix this. And unfortunately, it's communication from the top down. History tells us that. It's true in our own government, and it's true right here. We got to change some things. So to that end, I don't know what the board is that Jim's on that was speaking earlier, and I should have said something, but he should probably write something up as well, list the members that are on that committee, and say this is what we're going to go to going forward. There's a lot of anger over that building, and I think that would go a long way to smoothing that over. I mean, the last meeting in this room, there were 6 people up here that were looking to get on the board. I don't think we've seen anybody come there, but I think that we've got to be able to cure a lot of the ills here from the top down. Thank you for volunteering, Lee. Okay?
You've got my email. You know when to invite me.
Guess what? You got mine too. That's really it.
Great.
The next thing that we are actually going to do, hold on, there's one thing I did forget. We do have a list of issues that we've brought, in particular to Dawn, over the months, and I'm pretty new to the panel. We are going to really make a very concise list of things that have been accomplished, things that we've referred, and where do those stand? So we'll be bringing that to you before the next board meeting. Okay?
Can you mention that the BAP minutes and charter and everything are online now?
They are. I think they're in front steps. Our charter's in there, the minutes are in there, and there's something else that's in there.
Application to join.
An application to join. So if anyone's interested, come talk to us. Okay?
Can I make a recommendation?
Certainly.
Nate,
Nate, please.
I'm
I'm
sorry.
not the little bug.
I understand. As well as taking questions from the community, but and then us communicating back.
Yep.
Could the BAP let us know what questions would be best, what kind of topics could best be communicated, on a periodic basis?
Absolutely.
So if you let us know, and then we
Yep.
could assign the appropriate person to
Yep.
write something
Absolutely.
And that's
That's
a
one of the
great way
things we've talked about.
to
that.
interact with that.
And we thought that the boat trailer parking was a very good idea. Another one, you may not want to hear it, is actually, it's my mom's caregiver. The other one was actually something about the lawsuit. It's been going on. So I don't really want to hit that now, but I think that one of the things I'd really like to do is start with the boat trailer parking and try to put it to bed. Let's be proactive and get rid of all the stupid crap that's going on.
I agree.
There's so many rumors and so much innuendo. It's gonna stop. Okay?
We're meeting before
Yeah,
the CO.
Thanks for bringing that up. I was originally on the BAP, one of the original creators. It was an excellent tool. It started out very well rounded. We were packing the house every time we had an open house. I got too busy with roads and streets and stormwater. I had to resign. But towards the end of my tenure, we had nobody. Nobody. But you get on Facebook, there's 300 people arguing about everything on there. Why don't they come and address it to the board? That's what the BAP was created for. The other issue was there has to be a point of contact on the board for communication. So every week, we put out a weekly newsletter, which is very good. Thank you for putting that and expanding it. I hate to tell you to expand it more, but it should be a section in there for issues in the community that are being looked at, so that people just shut up and say, okay, they know about it, they're working on it. And I'll give a prime example. Mike and I have been working on the boat ramp issue. I've been working on it for 6 months, as roads and streets is my job. How are we gonna fix this problem? We've already quoted it, we've worked on it hand in hand. But me as the guy in the shadow, I'm not authorized to speak about things that the board is doing. So, like I said, when this started as an issue, the board should have came out with a statement stating, we understand there's an issue with the boat ramp, and the reason it was not in the original plan was cost. Okay? Cost. If you remember back when we first started the building, it was a Taj Mahal. By the time we finished, it's half of what we asked for because of cost. Okay? This is common sense, but people don't look at common sense anymore. Keystroke warriors out there, they know everything without talking to the lawyer, okay? So communication is a wonderful thing. Back in my tenure with the BAP, we took questions every week. We got emails, we had people come to our meetings, and we sent it off to the board. And this is 2 boards now, past board and the new board. And it goes out there and never land, and we never get an answer back, so that we can continuously, if he asks me a question in that meeting, I need to take it to the board and take it seriously, get that answer back, and I will directly call you or email you. This is what the board said. We got none of that back from the board. So I think there should be a communication person assigned to each board every year.
Well, can you give an example of what wasn't addressed by the board? Because like the dog park was addressed. I mean, there's lots of things that
You were
happened.
ahead of the game on that.
No.
You were ahead of it. You
No.
were on it
There
before
was
we.
so
No.
many complaints.
No, I just need to.
Separate.
No,
I-
I've got a
You've got
3-page list of
Okay.
things. Now, a lot of it is fluff, okay? We admit it. So what we're going to do as a panel is we are going to slim that down to things that are really truly important to the community. I mean, one of them was noise at the pool, okay? It's 35 degrees out. We're not going to address that now. But there are some more important things that need to be addressed, and we will have that list for the next board meeting.
Okay.
things
I
were,
can't think of anything that I have.
when I was,
There's stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
what I was getting at, as far as the communication goes, Mike and I have been working on this boat issue for ever. I feel like I've been working on it forever. Since it started on Facebook, I was like, why didn't we do this? I went and found out why we didn't do this. And okay, what can we do cost effectively to fix it? And Mike and I have been working on this, but I get on Facebook and I'm chewing my fingernails off trying to keep from shutting them up.
Well, the reality, Walt, is if you've been working on it for 8 months, and Mike's been working on it for 8 months, and none of us know that you're working on it for 8 months, we have a
It's
community
not mine,
problem.
it's not me that
It's-
trying
it is
to
a
shut it.
We're starting to go down the rabbit holes here. Let's
Yeah.
stick.
So that's basically it.
Yep.
Communicate what we're talking about,
Yes.
beat them to the punch, shut them up, and keep on moving.
So you're telling the positive.
Yeah, I'm Mark Hittner, and I wasn't aware of this, but in a situation like this, you guys have an issue and the community is maybe going back and forth, that is the time to announce on such and such a day, in the evening probably, we are going to have a meeting for everybody that has a dog in the fight to show up and hash this out.
Okay.
That's why the
All right.
BAP was committed.
Nate, you have anything more?
I'm sorry,
You?
I'm done.
Okay,
I'm done.
all right. We will move on now.
Well, can I
I
just
saw
say
my hand
something?
up.
This is
sorry.
not the time.
Yep,
Several months back, the prior past president had said that all committees are open to all members if they want to come to observe. So I guess the question for the board, is that still the policy?
yeah, the panel, we would like people to show up.
And I wasn't just referring to
Yeah.
yours. Thank you very much for your work in bringing it up. But I'm also talking about the other committees, standing committees. The Harbor Club is a standing committee. He also mentioned at the time that if we wanted to attend one of those meetings as observers, we could. And I wanted to know if that's still the case. I'm just hearing now that is the case with yours.
Yeah, it is.
So
Roads and streets and stormwater, anybody's welcome.
All right, Nate, you.
I was addressing the board.
Yep.
Thank you all.
Yep.
Wrap this up.
So that is the case, they're all open still?
Can I just say something quickly? That changed the setup for their meetings, and they don't actually really advertise the meeting time, date and time. So that could also basically be part of the issue. That's why we lost the.
All right. That's
The
between
neighborhood
BAP
watch.
and however, whatever they decide to put out.
We've
Well, that's
actually, Friday updates. So.
All right. All right.
And they now no longer allow the community to really talk. They're giving them 5 and 10 minutes at the end of their work.
Okay, well, that's their committee. I'm not going to tell them how to run it. Next thing on the agenda is managers report.
Okay, do I need to have this? Down there. Okay. I just passed out a couple things to the board. We're going to get to those in just a second. The dues income, and as Lee mentioned, this is not an accrual. This is a cash accounting of what has been taken in from March 1st. It is $3,785,669.05. It is approximately $220,000 more than what I last reported in September, since we didn't have a October report. Non-dues income is, from that same time period, is $360,783.35. The marina income is not included in that number. For clarification from your work session that you had on Friday, the resident that asked for bumpers on the boat launch area, resident asked for the board to consider paying bumpers for the boat launch to allow boats not to area. And the fishing club was willing to install and help install. What the decision was for the fishing club to pay for that and that we would install it, is that correct?
That's what we asked for.
Okay,
Yeah.
I need to get back with that resident, okay. To update you guys on the Beacon, we had a meeting with the new editor, Bob Revik, and his wife, and they met with Julie Finlayson. She is the previous editor of the Beacon. We are still trying to get that working. In the meantime, we had a meeting with the folks that produce the County Compass. That meeting was held on 10/21, and they are producing a proposal for the board, and it may actually come later today, where one of the owners is going to pick up a paper copy and then present it to you guys this afternoon. Timing is just, that's the way the timing is. Excuse me. The PCC changes that were approved at the board at a call meeting previously were added to the website. And Amanda and I are going to Arizona for the leadership conference and trainings in Arizona next week from November 17th through 21st. We won't be here. On 10/17, Larry held a meeting with a contractor who is helping us to define the access groups and user schedules for events at the new Harbor Club. That is going to be a big endeavor, and we're working towards that, because everybody that has the Harbor Club reserved is going to have access on their RFID cards so that they can get in at that time. As you guys know, there are groups of people that start a coffee club at 7 o'clock in the morning, and those members of the community are going to have to be able to get in before the building is open. So those kinds of things are going to be worked out. Let's see. On 10/14, Larry had me send out a notice regarding an issue with guest passes with the RFID access. We are still working closely with the software provider for that. You might be talking about that later. No,
But
okay.
I can tell you that as it appears now, just go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off. We're not gonna be able to have guest passes unless they make a change to the software. The mobile app still will work perfectly fine, the cards work fine, the windshield stickers are gonna be okay. But as far as guest passes, the only way we could have a guest pass in place was if we allowed something called remote unlock, which means that the gate can be unlocked from anywhere, and that's not acceptable security. So we had to, until they make a change in the software, and I've already placed that request, a feature request, in to the vendor to ask them to do that. And as soon as they do it, I'll put guest passes back on. But for right now, we will not have guest passes. Now, that means that we can still call the gate and get people in that way. And cards will still work, and mobile app will still work.
Does everybody hear that? Okay.
Okay.
So if you don't have a mobile app and you don't have an RFID card, just continue to call the gate at 636-5566 like you've been doing for a million years. So, the Harbor Club Utilization Committee, you guys met Jim Anderson this morning. They do meet weekly. They are get all of the SOPs and guidance completed for the Harbor Club before it opens. Many of the questions in everyone's minds will be answered once the board reviews their recommendations, and the information will be sent out to the community. I think we covered that. Right now, we're still booking dates with details and reservation agreement to follow. So if you have something important that you want to just get the date booked, you can do that. With Hosted America, the fiber optics, phase 3 will be completed by the end of November. That's their last phase. And so they anticipate being completely done by the end of this month. Mark Henry just left, didn't he?
He did.
Oh, rats. With the Barkentine Gate, reading bicycles, Mark and his wife are avid bicyclists. So that issue has been reviewed, and Will made a change to the gate that has allowed it to fully cycle when triggered. I think that you guys pretty much know that our gates all operate differently. Each gate was installed at different times with different technology. So that particular gate, if you don't see it go all the way up when you're coming up to it, don't go through it. If it just goes like this, it's gonna come back down. I think that's pretty much common sense. But if you're on a bicycle you're not in a big, huge metal object that's triggering the response to the gate. So bicycles should follow the new bicycle lane to avoid any issues with that Argentine gate. Slower bicycles are triggering the gate to go all the way up, but do make sure it goes all the way up before proceeding through, unless you're in that little side bicycle lane. That's confusing, but if you see it, you'll understand where to go. I have asked the board to consider a shred day, which would enable the shredded company to come for 3 hours. Sounds like you guys approved that on Friday? I wasn't at the meeting, okay. Are you asking for residents to make a contribution if they bring a baker's box of documents, or are we paying for them all together?
For donations, make sure that doesn't get shredded.
Do that, so we'll ask for donations to help that cost. It is right around $1,000 to get the Black Friday deal. Maybe that will reduce the cost a little bit. It's not something that's been budgeted, but I think it would be money well spent. You guys know about Kate Castle. She had her knee surgery last week and she's on the mend. She's doing well. We are looking for her to work inside the POA office for a short time while she's healing so that she's not outside doing the labor for the maintenance department. Speaking of the maintenance department, Will's team planted 38 palm trees over by the Harbor Club within the last 2 weeks. That was a big undertaking and that's all finished. Golf course, restaurant at the Point, we have a new fall seasonal menu that starts this week. And Thanksgiving has 2 seatings, 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. The 1 p.m. looks like it's almost filled. So if you haven't made a reservation, do that. The Tunnels to Towers tournament was held on November 1st. I gave you guys the breakdown of how that went. The total monies deposited for that event were over $15,000. We had some outside expenses, which were a little over $550. We had restaurant expenses with labor, pro shop expenses with labor, prize money, and then the total to be split 60-40 is right under $13,000. So the money for Walt's elevator project is $7,653.34, which is very shy of what it will cost to put a lift over at the.
Better next year.
We're gonna have to. So money that will be donated to Tunnels to Towers is $5,102.22. It's a very successful event. Thank you for everybody that supported that.
Thanks for supporting us.
Let's see, I think I told you guys already about the county compass folks are coming. It could be that it's free, that with the advertising that might be accomplished in that paper, that the county compass could produce a paper version of the beacon again. If anybody remembers what the beacon was like when you got it in your brown box, it was, I think, a great addition to the community. And Nate, for people that wanted to add an article to the beacon, they could do that. It did also have board approval, but for the most part, if you had something to say, the beacon editor would accept your submission. I think the other thing that I gave you guys was for consideration, the collection policy, and I apologize that I don't have the answer to this either. I know that this was brought up at your work session. Did you agree to consider a bereavement policy to take away 3 months of late fees if somebody has died? Did you agree to make that policy change?
I remember the discussion.
Okay, on Friday, I asked Kathleen to share with you a potential change to the collection policy so that if somebody passed away and somebody was trying to take care of the estate, that we could cancel 3 months of their late fees.
I remember the discussion, but I'd have to look at the minutes to see what the decision.
There's no minutes.
It was a work session, so no decisions are made.
Yeah.
It was only discussion.
I'll make a motion that we accept the proposal that you came up with on the
Okay.
3-month bereavement.
I'll second that.
Great, that's
Okay, a
fantastic.
motion, a second, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank
Okay,
you.
you got it.
Now,
That's great. Thanks very, very much. I think that will go very far. It's been very tough to tell people whose family has passed away and they weren't aware of dues. It's hard to tell them that we have no policy for that, so that's great. Thank you. That's all I have other than some things in executive session that will have to come later.
Reserve study?
Oh, the reserve study, yes. That is almost completed. The last I got, which was today at 9:49, was that the reserve study engineer had been speaking with Ray Redness from Stormwater and also was involved with Lee's emails. He's waiting for Ray to prioritize the repairs so that Lee can create a spreadsheet with the amounts that need to be spent each year to get the needed repairs completed. So once he has that itemized importance list, he's going to be able to put it into the reserve report. That's not in order. So he has that. Okay. So once he has the order, then he's going to be able to finalize our reserve study.
The conversation I had with Ray yesterday was that this was in reaction to if we had another storm like Florence.
Okay.
So these are the things we want to try to complete in advance of that. This is not a priority list of stormwater. It's in reaction to the possibility of a Florence.
Okay.
Repeat. So, and that list would be different because this is a good place to start, but it's not, as you said, one through 9 or whatever. This is not that list.
Yeah, I see that list. I was the one that asked for that prioritization or that categorization so we could do budget planning with it. Because frankly, I think we need to be prioritizing budget first for recovery from another Florence. Sooner or later, we're going to have one. I just hope it's not in my lifetime. That's another issue. And no, that's not an announcement. But
We could make it arrangement.
yeah, I know. Ray had surprised me in that he had picked certain items, and they were, as I recall, 2 and 3, which is the biggest part of the money, and we'll have to talk about that some more. That would begin your timeline period for input to the reserve study. I don't understand the comment that there's a different list than this. Can somebody help me with that?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
Item 9 here was replace the 6 CMP culverts in Gondolier Peninsula. They are deteriorating and they're falling apart, they're rusting out, and they need to be replaced. And Walt wants to pave Gondolier next year.
27. Starts at 27.
Okay,
Paving the Gondolier Peninsula,
Yeah.
Buffalo Reef and Trade Winds.
hold on. $64,800 to get that done. That's one of our primary goals for this next year, is to have the money to get that finished so he can start paving. There are other things on here that we need to take care of, but there's things here that we can also break down into smaller bites than this bite.
Okay.
And that's what we have to review.
Okay.
He needs, what do you want next on here? How big a bite are you gonna take? Part of it's gonna be how much money we got. So. can Pull it out now.
Yeah.
He's got $100,
You
he has
first,
a $100 bill,
Open your wallet, Lee.
$100 bill.
So that's,
I see it.
that's the way we're talking about it. And we will give him that list, so we have a conversation about what might be available in the budget.
Next year's budget will be very tight.
Pass it back to Lee. Next item on the agenda is document control procedure. Lee?
We discussed this in work session. I'll pass this down. I just reformatted what we talked about. I'm gonna go through it. I'm sorry. Like you and I can share, because I only saved one or two what I did the other day.
Motion.
This will be a motion when I'm all done. But we've run into problems with old protocols, if you will, for document management. And they related to access for documents to the directors And one night I was working on something, I think it was a Saturday afternoon, and I needed to see the Troon contract and get something clarified. And I asked where it was, and I was told I had to come into the office and review it in a reader's file. The reason I wanted to review it was because the copy that Kevin willed to me was an unsigned copy, so I considered. And if I was going to get clarification, I should be a copy. Seems that makes sense. For the directors to have to go to the office to view a document in person and not have the current document available is a problem. I've got $500,000 coming up that I'm going to need to administer properly on a construction draw. And right now I don't have, unless we put it in there yesterday,
We did.
a copy of the construction contract for the Harbor Club that is signed by everybody. Current files in the reader files are generally incomplete and don't represent the final signed version in most cases. We need a complete file there. All the directors need to be able to have 24/7 access to it. Some contracts contain confidentiality clauses. I've seen them. They need to be honored until we get them modified or amended. I'm working on that. It's taken a while. Signature editions of all contracts, proposals, etc. should be secured in locked storage as paper copies. Because at some point in time, we're going to have another Florence, and whatever we've got saved on electronic copy may not be enough. To that end, I've ordered a complete book, and it's turned out to be 2 books of our insurance policies as paper copies, which will be part of our go box if we have to evacuate here for Florence or another Florence. Those paper originals must be backed up as digital files in case they get lost or burnt down. And digital files should be backed up to a portable hard drive or a remote backup site as needed for disaster response. It's just basic document management stuff that we're not doing right now. So, I've skipped around a little bit, but I'm going to move that management staff immediately gain control of all original signed versions of all contracts and proposals that have been accepted, and file the paper versions appropriately in accordance with the principles above, which includes marking for confidentiality, which includes locked storage. There should be an inventory of those documents so that when you go into a reader file, you know what should be there. The inventory should be kept up to date as documents are added to the file or removed from the file. I further move that each document so filed should be inspected as it's filed for presence of a confidentiality clause, and the front page at least should be marked prominently confidential as compliance with NC 47. Bob made the point that if it's a military confidential, you mark every page. If we comply with 47, we're not military. I'm fine. I move the management staff create a board of directors page on either Appfolio or Front Steps, which provides secure access for directors needing to reference contracts or documents. Both software packages offer this feature. Both can be secured by password and by multi-factor access control if we deem it necessary. I'll ask for a second to the motion.
I'll second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, call for question. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous? Next.
By the way, I do have one last comment on that. Jennifer and I have actually tried the front steps access. It does work. We changed my password and I logged on last night and was able to access a document she had filed in that secure page. So yeah, you can look surprised. It does work.
Okay, next on the agenda, boat parking. Mike,
I think everybody had a chance to take a look at
Can
these
you use the
diagrams.
microphone, please?
Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
I think everybody had an opportunity to look at these photographs that we had some previous work done on. And we're in process of getting this drawn up as a plan. And that plan would be 8 to 10 drive-through parking places for boats near the ramp. Near the circle by the ramp. And so that's in progress. If you have other questions, ask me.
Are you leaning towards one or the other?
But what we're leaning towards is when you come off, you launched your boat and you're ready to park, okay? Do you go up across the new parking lot and come around and then park at an angle going towards the water? Or do you try to make a sharp turn and go at an opposite angle going away from the building? So it's that access, or just come around and go straight through. My concern is if we do the straight through, which would be better and easier if there's 10, let's say there's 10 there, we've got 400 more homes coming in, and a good percentage of those people are boaters. 8's not gonna be enough. So how do we expand it? So if we have them come in as an angle, you can take that angle and just keep going down the shoreline. Where if it's straight in like this, you're gonna block the second lane. So I'm thinking the angle this way or angle that way is gonna be better. Ray is getting the digital information from Bill Drexler. He's gonna put it in AutoCAD and come up with a diagram for us. And the AutoCAD will allow him to mark or to estimate the radiuses that are needed to come off of there to get back off the gravel, back to the asphalt. The back end of that lot does not have curbing on it, so it's perfect for coming around as a circle. And that's what we're gonna try to do with it. And if we do it as an angle and when we grow, we just go farther back as needed.
I mean, I know the cost is an issue, and you've got the 2 parking lots there that are paved. There's a big chunk of space there in front of the road. It's now lawn, and there are curbs.
That is there designed to be overflow for the Grant Hall. So if there's a wedding reception, there's gonna be more people than we can get on those 2 lots. The lots that were created because they were required for a building of that size to have X amount of parking.
Understand that if you paved part of that lower, would that not fulfill that requirement? And then you could use that uppermost lot, restripe it for parking for boats?
Well, you couldn't restripe that for boats because it's not built for it. Okay, it's built for single car access. If you go in there, and you can't just fill the grass strip in, that's where the water goes.
Yeah.
And we have to have the runoff. And that particular piece of documentation took us 5 months to get through the state. So it's not like we could just stop this project in the middle and redesign it. We had to finish the project, and now I'm ready to move on and finish the parking and get it correct. So we're still working with it. If you have ideas, bring them to me. But we're going to take that front area where the circle is after you launch and use that. The reason I like that better is because coming down Pelican, when you break that corner, you see the parking lot first, okay? And then you see the building. One of the things I've been talking about is when you come down Pelican, I'd like to have from that telephone pole back to the trash container for the Harbor Club, have that screened somehow with some parking lot full of cars or an empty parking lot. The first thing your visual when you're coming around that corner is, bam, there's the clubhouse. That's neat. That's gorgeous. So there's some things I'm kind of simultaneously throwing in here. But the other thing is you would want to come around the front and gravel that front portion
and then have that bunch of trailers with stuff sticking out. So we're gonna be over the hill, so to speak, and all the parking there will be not seen from the road as you go by.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
But if you pave part of that front piece and use that top piece for trailer parking.
It's not designed for trailer parking, it's designed for single cars.
All right, you can work those nuts and bolts out.
Cost is also an issue when you start talking about paving.
Absolutely. And gravel is a lot cheaper, and it would, so the initial budget that Walt was working with was like $36,000, and it was gonna park five trailers. That's just not adequate. So, we're gonna try to do something a little bit better than that.
Have you worked with the fishing club or other people that use the ramp often to come up with your plan? And what I notice is we, sometimes no trailers, sometimes maybe on a weekend, 4 or 5, but, convenience for 5 is probably nice, and then overflow in a lot of places. I do a lot of loading, okay, our overflow is across the road, and
The cart barn is inadequate. I've seen 7 trailers in there, and I've seen the same day, there was a food truck taking up the 8th place.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's not adequate. A lot of people tell me, well, that's plant parking, I've never seen more than 2 or 3 trailers in there.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I've
Work
seen
this
more.
stuff out
Yeah.
in committee. That's not the
well, my
appropriate.
question is, have you
Committee.
made,
I've talked
have a
to,
meeting?
I talked to Ray, I talked to Walter, I talked to Will, I've talked to Don Simpson, and I've talked to, Ray. And I've talked to a number of boaters as I've been down there, and they've been coming in, and I've been asking them, have I contacted the fishing club independently? No, I've not. If they want to talk about it, I'm open for it.
Yeah, I would say call a meeting. If too often it gets done,
Okay.
it doesn't meet.
So the other thing I have on here to talk about is the stormwater concerns about the Harbor Club.
Before we leave this, you asked me before we started, could we squeeze this into
I did.
the currently available funds? I've been thinking about that a lot, and I can say that I'm 92.3% sure that if you can squeeze it into the difference between the loan amount and the contract amount, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
If you can squeeze it into that, I think we can fund it from that. If you run a dime over, you're gonna be out there throwing rocks back in the truck.
I get that. In just kind of in anticipation of that, as the Harbor Club has come down to the end, there was a piece of equipment that was it was a piece of equipment that had to go up for firefighting on top of the building so that they could use the radios inside the smoky building and talk back and forth. It's somewhat required. We've had 4 different people look at it, and the independent study people said, you don't need this. That was $50,000. So we looked at that $50,000, and the committee started using it for other issues. And at our last session, we identified 3 of those sessions we're putting a hold on so that we don't think these things need to be completed now. Part of it is regrading at the amphitheater, which was $10,000. The Connecticut water filter thing was about $9,000. We're gonna wait a year before we talk about spending that money. It'll be at a different budget. And then some of the artwork that was gonna go in the building that was about $6,300. We put a hold on all that money so that we might have some funds for this project. And we still don't know what's gonna be left over. If more than that, we have a few hiccups that have come up, and we have to address those. And then we'll see at the end how much money Lee's got to spend.
And I'll send an email this afternoon to get you a contact with Fishing Club.
Great, thank you.
Appreciate it. Stormwater.
So Ray and I were walking around the building, and we're looking at where the runoff is going to. And we have some concerns about the front parking lot because it's gonna run down to the swale at Pelican. But that swale is really not shaped to take that water away from there. And it should go, as you're standing at the building looking at Pelican, it should go to the left. Because it goes underneath the driveway, and then it goes further down, and there's a box down there that feeds another set of swales from the golf course underneath Pelican, and then it goes into the inner harbor. That whole area where that pipe is run, it's got a hole that big in the pipe. It's solely corroded. It's about $44,000 to fix that issue. That's the pipe, and I don't know how much stormwater is going to need, if they're going to have to resculpt the front of that. So there's some other issues that need to be taken care of. The other thing that I took some pictures of and shared them with the Harbor Club Committee, and I think I shared them with the board, of the night vision of the Harbor Club. At night, there's a street light that shines on the front parking lot, and the building is all lit up because the doorways are all lit up and the interior light on, and that's not on our dime right now because the company is still in possession of the building. Once they turn it over to us, then we will be in possession of it. They can do as we want to, but I'm thinking the entrances look pretty good and that front parking lot looks pretty good. But the major parking lot for the Grand Hall that's on the left-hand side, if you're looking at the building, is woeful. It's not adequate whatsoever. You can barely see back there, and if we're gonna have people closing up at 10:30 at night, taking a dolly of trash can all the way across that parking lot, it's gonna be in the dark. So I had some discussion with Lee about this earlier, and he had mentioned the possibility of doing some solar lighting for streetlights. So we need to start talking about that. I have been requested that it's not something that needs to be done until we actually get into the building and we get some activity and we'll see what our needs are. But putting together some of the numbers now, I think would be a good idea because we're gonna need it.
All right. Are there any announcements?
And I talked a little bit about the view from Pelican as you're going towards the building. So I had this as a second one. Okay.
Jennifer?
I think I forgot to mention in my report that Hughes is coming to this building on the 18th at 3 p.m. to discuss all of the things that are going on. I hope he doesn't have to cancel because he may if they haven't found the guy yet for the manhunt. But anyway, the 18th of November at 3 p.m. in this building, Sheriff Hughes.
Oh, yeah,
That'll be on the weekend update.
it is.
All right, for those of you that have things you want to bring to us, Larry's going to bring the mic to you, the two mics, so that you can be heard both online and here, and we'll go from there.
I have one comment, one announcement. I have one thing I want to add. In the interest of what Nate brought up, I will try to get something written up for this Friday's update related to guest passes so that the whole community will know what's going on. Thank you.
Okay, who's first? Young lady all the way over.
Hi, my name is Helen Bradley from 129 Argosy. I actually have two questions. One is, we've been without two board members for several months now. What's the status and when do you guys anticipate appointing someone to replace so we have full representation? That being number one. The second one, if you review the board work session minutes, in my opinion, it looks like it's a meeting. They were putting the term work session on. So are we doing that to circumvent an open meeting, number one? And number two, shouldn't those work sessions be open for us to come in and view?
First question, we're planning on interviewing the individual candidates.
Again?
No, not you, it was us.
No, again, we
Not again.
already interviewed them and then put them out for the.
We didn't interview.
What year? They presented their platforms.
Yeah, well,
What they've done.
the rumor in the community is that the 5 board members are getting along famously, and you guys didn't want to upset the apple cart. So you were intentionally delaying the appointment.
Rumors are rumors, and they're worth about as much as your standard one in barn.
So when's the interviews taking place, and when do you anticipate a appointment?
I don't have a date on that. this time.
Can you get back to the community with the Friday updates with that? There's a lot of conversation going.
We'll let you know.
Yeah, that's not acceptable.
Well, that's what we got.
Okay, we'll deal with it.
And the second one regarding the work sessions.
Work sessions, when we hold them, there are no decisions made. We discuss things, but do not make decisions. So that's the way a work session is.
Well, actually, listening to the conversation and the decisions
There you go.
that you guys.
There you go.
Jennifer,
My-
have
my
you checked with
opinion is
CAI?
The reason you have work
Because see-
sessions is so the board can talk openly amongst ourselves.
No, that's
But-
the
Okay.
executive session.
No,
The-
executive session is different.
But excuse me, Mike,
Yes,
if
it
you,
is.
excuse me, Mike, if you look at the board minutes, at the work session minute, it appears that it's a board meeting versus a work session, which is typically for one subject that you guys can discuss in detail. And that's not what's happening. You guys are having a full board meeting.
We're having an agenda and we're discussing and we're sharing ideas about that. If you have an open meeting that's a work session, the members are not going to be freely talking with each other because we understand some issues. And we're going to prevent that conversation. And what's going to happen, and I've seen it, the majority that want to attack together is going to go to somebody's kitchen and meet someplace else and make the decisions there. And then you're going to come to the work session and you're not going to say anything because it's open and you don't want to be criticized for your ideas and your sharing of information. I'm telling you, it's the way it works. So the closed work session is the way to go. We have to have the ability to talk amongst ourselves, come up with our ideas and share them.
And I'll add that there are no motions.
No.
Oh,
Louise Helm Drive.
Thank you,
This
Louise.
goes out to Bob, and I'm going to say, when were you elected? 2023? So you'll be out this June? So we're a long way from you getting on the board, with the board making fun of you and laughing at you over your alphabet soup, right? So I just want to say you need to lighten up. Your attitude sucks, and respect works both ways.
Is there a question?
Okay.
Did you have a question?
No, that is my question. You need to, back up a little bit and treat people with respect. You want respect, you gotta give respect. So you get what you asked for. Okay? You haven't addressed anybody respectfully today. Or kindly.
Dawn Ritter, I have a question. Doreen Whitlock handed in a petition, and she handed in under 55A. Under 55A, it says that the board shall hold a meeting, not may. That's in our bylaws. But the law says that you shall hold a meeting. When is that meeting going to be? And if you don't have a meeting, you're in violation of 55A, which could jeopardize our nonprofit status.
I don't have an answer to that. That's a legal question. I'm not
You,
aware.
it's not a legal question. You
It
have
is a
30
legal
days
question.
from the day she handed in her petition.
Anybody got a?
There's a letter on the way.
A letter is not a meeting. When is the meeting going to be?
There's a letter on the way.
So is there going to be a meeting, or are you guys going to be in
There's a
violation?
letter on the way.
What does that mean, Mike?
What does that mean, Mike?
There's
You
an
can't
answer
tell me what
going-
you, do you know what?
going to Ms. Whitlock.
Why don't you, can you guys, can I take the microphone for a second? Can you guys do the right thing for once, please, for this community? You're worried about why the community is at odds. We hear today that they're gonna maybe look at in the future to put the Harbor Club out for outside people when they were adamant against it, wasn't gonna
I
happen.
never heard that. I have never heard that was only going to be for just Harbor people.
Then you
Never
never
heard
went to one of the meetings that Phil Hewitt had, that was
Maybe.
adamant. Then, now here, there's another one, we want to have a vote. You're saying that there's a letter on the way. Well, the law says you needed to set a meeting.
We've
in
heard
30
back from
days.
our attorney, and there's a letter on the way, and that's all I'm going to say. Okay?
Wow. Do the right thing for a change, please. You guys want to heal this community, do the
Larry.
right thing.
Try something else.
Anybody else?
And Mike, just for the record, it's on YouTube.
Great.
When they did the unveiling to the community, it was on YouTube. for the hour and a half that they had before the play.
I didn't see it.
That's
Sorry.
wonderful.
When you are in open session and you decide to go into a workshop, what you're actually doing is going into an executive session. And there is criteria that you must meet in order to go into executive session. Now,
I'm aware of that, yeah.
this is not a colloquy right now, Mike. Thank you. You probably do. But what I'm having a hard time understanding is we're sending our manager all over the United States to become more educated, but she's not familiar with what constitutes an executive session and when they can be held and the posting of those executive sessions. You guys want to operate secretively, and this is one of the problems that we have within this community that needs to come to an end. I strongly suggest that go back into CAI, Common Grounds, and read up on executive sessions. It's very clear. That's it. Thank you.
Ann.
I don't know that it's a question now because the gentleman that was talking about the usage of the Harbor Club has left, apparently.
Mhm.
In the past, for several years, Penny Sullivan, pretty much on her own, organized and produced a Christmas party for owners or people in the community only. And I would ask that if someone would do the work to have a community Christmas party again, that would be allowed to go into the Grand Hall or Grand, whatever it's called. Grand Hall, thank you.
Okay.
I would certainly support that.
Yeah.
That can be done, item by item, event by event. This is our standard. It doesn't mean we wouldn't open it up for something reasonable like that.
We used to have it every year. I don't know when we stopped doing it, but the reason we stopped was because there were too many people for one night.
Yeah.
So we had to have 2 nights,
Right.
but then we had to pay the band 2 nights, and we couldn't afford it. That's why. I was wondering.
Thank you.
Hi, excuse me. Mark Hittner from 5214 Buckle Reef. I guess I have a couple things. And there's safety safety things. As Jennifer knows, I was knocked off my bicycle by the gate that was malfunctioning. My wife had a gate come down on her also, and I had a boat window damaged by a guard gate. And every time Jennifer has been available and gets a remedy, she made the gate stay open longer, and it's thanks to Will, the gate at Marina Drive seems to be operating well. And I've tried to connect with the safety committee twice, but got no response. And there's a dumpster down on, I'm trying to think of the name now. It's at the intersection of Gondolier and Pelican. If you're inbound, you turn right. What is? Navidad Bank. There's a dumpster that's partly on the pavement. Doesn't look to be reflective. I think it should have a barrel or something. There's some sitting on Pelican. I don't know what they're doing at the 822 area. I think those kind of things should be attended to. And the other thing is board response. I've written and asked questions, got no response. I've asked that somebody from the board be appointed, so they didn't all have to be responding. I copy Jennifer and I get a response from her with her best guess. But I think I don't think things should be closed up anymore. A work session, if you say there's no comments from the audience, you should be able to work, and what you say should be available. And this has been going on for a long time. Past boards, and I've heard them say, well, we know best. We don't care. We're the experts on this or that. We know best. And that's not the attitude, or we know better than the average member in the community. I hope that's not going on anymore, but I know that has happened. That's just it. That's my comments.
Anybody else? All right, this meeting is recessed to the afternoon session. Afternoon session.
If you would be-
What meeting was this?
Executive.
Executive session.
Executive session.
If you'd be so kind to put your chair away, that would be appreciated.
I don't know how to turn it off.
It is
How to turn that off.
December 17th.